From the strange and the damn right insane, in today's top 5 list we bring you 5 weird history facts you probably didn't know about. From Tsunami of Toffee Apples to a king that made everyone pay homage to a dead corpse, here are top 5 weird history facts. Number 5. The King and his favourite corpse. King Afonso of Portugal was a ruthless and strong ruler, used to having things pretty much his way all the time. When his son Dom Pedro fell in love with Inés Paredes de Castro, Afonso forbid this marriage at the time because Inés was illegitimate. Pedro, however, carried on the relationship with the looming question of what will happen. I guess we all like a bit of danger in relationships. Later, claiming that Inés and him were married, Afonso tried to end the relationship but failed. He had her confined to a monastery. Now we look forward to the date is January 1355. He had 3 of his henchmen murder her. 2 years later, however, Afonso died. Pedro became king and pursued his wife's killers. 2 were caught and brought before him. He had their hearts ripped out, one from the front, one from the back. In Portugal, those who think themselves descended from the third killer celebrate his escape with a picnic every June. According to the legend, King Pedro then had Inés exhumed, ordered the corpse to dress in a style appropriate for a queen, and had her crowned. Pedro sat on a throne next to her, with all his nobility of Portugal filed past, lifted her hand and kissed her as a mark of their respect. Which I'm not sure about you, but I'm not into kissing dead corpses. Number 4. The first proposal for space travel in English history. Philosopher John Wilkins, who married Cromwell's youngest sister, Robina, was a polymath of great learning and curiosity, and would be one of the founders of the Royal Society. In 2 books he explored the possibility of flying chariots to carry men to the moon. Yeah, don't worry, it gets weirder. He believed that time, as many others did, that the moon was inhabited with life and could possibly go up there and trade with them. He believed that people were stuck on Earth due to a magnetic force weighing us down, making sure that we do not fly away. He thought if it were possible to reach altitude of just 20 miles, travellers would be able to sail through space. Breathing wouldn't be a problem, as astronauts or travellers would soon grow accustomed to the purer air breathed by angels and gods. Later he tested the theory, building many flying machines that help him in sailing through space, a sort of bad remake of Treasure Planet. He did this with the help of Robert Hooke in the gardens of Walham, Oxford College in the 1650. While this Cromwellian connections reduced him to poverty after this whole ordeal, he then returned to the monarchy. Wilkins' fortunes gradually restored, and he ended his life as the Bishop of Chester, which is nice, I guess. Number 3. The pedestrian who collected rocks to build a house. Well, this is one way to get into the real estate market, I guess. A historical descriptive view of the county of Palatine of Durham, dated 1834. Simeon Ellerton died here, North Yorkshire, in January 3rd, 1799. At the advanced age of 104, he was a noted pedestrian, and was often employed by the gentlemen in the neighbourhood on commissions to London and the surrounding areas, which he had always executed on foot with fidelity and diligence. He lived in a neat stone cottage of his own building, which what was remarkable about this, he had literally carried it upon his own head, it being his practice to bring home from every journey a stone that he could pick up on the road, until he had accumulated a sufficient quantity to erect his habitation, by which time, although the motive had ceased, this practice had grown into so much of a habit that he imagined he could travel the better for having a weight upon his head, and he seldom came home without some loading. If any person inquired his reason, he used to facetiously answer, "'Tis to keep on my hat," which is a humble story, to be honest, because you can imagine a man working hard every day, pondering and dreaming of moving somewhere else, his own little paradise, I guess. Number 2. Boston and the Toffee Apple Tsunami. The date is Wednesday, 15th of January 1919, in Boston, Massachusetts. A very casual 90-foot wide cast iron tank containing 2.5 million gallons of sugarcane, which is used for making rum, exploded everywhere, probably because the contents had expanded during the overnight rise in temperature. It's probably safe to say this is one sticky situation the team's PR section didn't want to cover. The tank, belonging to the United States Industrial Alcohol Company, was set 50 feet above street level. Its entire contents spilled within a few seconds and with no warning at all. The explosion of the tank resulted in a thicky stick-like wall which ran rampant through the streets, reaching up speeds up to 35 miles per hour. It demolished buildings, tore down structures, and ripped them from their foundations. It carried off vehicles down the street and even drowned nearby horses. People who tried to outrun the wave were engulfed and drowned in a sticky mess. In all, 11 people were killed and 50 injured, arriving at hospital, according to one eyewitness, looking like toffee apples descended upon them in their near-death experience. The mess took weeks to clean up, and for decades afterwards the locals claimed that they could distinctly smell sugarcane in hot weather. Not what you'd expect for a typical tsunami story, I'd guess. Number 1. A one-legged man reassured London's first escalator users. For a humble ending to this top 5, the first escalator in the London Underground system went in operation in Earl's Court in 1911. On its first day of operation, passengers who had never seen such a thing before were naturally apprehensive and probably thought about everything that's happened in every Final Destination movie ever. To calm their fears, it said a one-legged underground employee, William Bumper Harris, rode up and down to demonstrate its safety, although they are suspicious that this story may be a myth, which would be sad because I can imagine a crowd of people amazed as one-legged man with no fear rode up and down for hours like something in a children's movie or a really awful Christmas movie. Harris was later clerk of workers on the project to install escalators at Charing Cross. When the remains of an ancient oak tree were discovered during the excavations, this was used to make furniture for the Admiralty, but also ornamental walking sticks for Harris, which has been presented to him in 1913. The stick and Harris's pocket watch are now housed in the London Transport Museum, which I didn't even know we had. I should really get out more.